interests across the globe and especially international community, but you also raised a lot of issues. So we had to cover all angles. And if I can start with the first question on whether we are prosecuting, AG will probably go in some details, but indeed, if you understood, especially when the matter came out, I was on air and I explained everything, so probably this question shouldn't have arisen, but just to repeat, that she wasn't married to the Gborbu Wulomo. It's a ritual which she has been initiated into it at age 6, and so she was focused on it. All they did was to elevate her status to a queen mother of that deity. So there was no marriage. Yes, of course, there was some incident of some MCs embellishing it on so many things, and my advice to them, sometimes if they talk to the Ministry of Chieftaincy with my registers, we can find appropriate people to manage these events. But they didn't know, so they went ahead, but there was nothing like a marriage. And so if you say that if she was married and a child that's underage, then it doesn't happen. It didn't happen, and that's not the case we're talking about here. So AG would probably answer, if there was no marriage, then there's no prosecution here. But seriously, come back to the second question. Yes, there are some customs and traditions that may well be looked at by my ministry, because we all know, as Ghana became independent, before then we lived in the era where the tradition ruled, the chiefs were in charge, and the fetish priests and abosom and all that were the controllers. The Tindanes controlled some parts. When you come to my hometown and the fetish priest talks, nobody challenges them. There's a saying in Chi that you can see it's red, but if you say it, you've tread where we shouldn't be, and the spirits deal with you. But also in the past, as we moved into modern world democracy, law, modernity, more education and all that, we've realized some of the customs and tradition need to be reformed. And indeed, under the Chieftaincy Act 759, we've been enjoined to work with the National House of Chiefs to look at the codification of relevant customs across the country, because not all customs are the same. Even within Greater Accra, within certain areas, it differs. You come to the Middle Belt, Ashanti, the interest and bonus and the half. There are so many differences. But if we can get the codification right, then we can know what happens in which particular area. So it's ongoing. You remember in those days, as I mentioned earlier, when a chief dies in my part of the world, there were people who volunteered their children to be beheaded, so they can join the chief and go to the other world. These days, if you go and behead somebody, it's a crime. It's murder. So things have moved on. So the same thing, others will come on board and we change them. So I think that tackles the question. But in terms of what took place, we've done a lot of intensive investigation. And indeed, if I can veer into some of the questions you had, that why the pregnancy test and all that. I mean, you guys heard all the rumors. I also heard the rumors. We don't bury our heads in the sand. We live with you. We are leaders we are government, and we are public servants. So all the rumors you hear, we also hear. And just to cover the grounds, we have to do that. Just to make sure. Though yes, we all know, and from my investigation, it was a right to a deity, not to the man who is in front of the deity. But of course, when I hear a rumor of a pregnancy and a possible marriage, and our job as a government official is to cover all the angles. It doesn't necessarily mean that we believe it, but we have to cover that, and that's what we've done. And that's why the minister read the statement that she has. So that ends me. If there's any addition, the Deputy Attorney General will add to it. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe,
and click on the bell for more updates.